Hello everyone, I am back with Transformers Legacy Evolution Blitzwing, which is quite the good figure. I actually do quite like this guy. Let me turn on the light. There's a way I could, put this light right above the figure. It'd be very convenient. Close enough until I transform it. Yeah, it looks like that. Don't think that's gonna look great once I transform it and go. So Legacy Blitzwing is quite the interesting figure. It is a triple changer. It has a tank mode and a jet mode. Underside kibble, for one thing, is he's very filled out. This thing doesn't seem gappy at all. He rolls really well thanks to some pinned on wheels, which are actually textured, so if you get him on a solid surface, here, allow me. You can hear that. That is the sound he makes when he's rolling on a smooth surface because of the way the wheels are textured. So that's pretty interesting. Technically, this tank mode does have articulation. The turret can rotate. Focus on the toy, not on my hand. Turret can rotate a full 360. The thing can go up, mainly for transformation, and if you wanted to, you could unpeg this and make it face down or face up. And some of the accessories do play into this mode, so I am gonna have to spoil some of the accessories. I'm not 100% sure how these go, but they're these big clear plastic things that there's a port here that goes into that peg, so just shove that in there. And then apparently this is meant to tab into that. I think. Yes. That weaponizes the tank mode. Which, it's a tank. I don't know if it really needs a weaponizing gimmick, but I will admit it looks okay. And then you're supposed to take the blasters and peg them into any of these portholes. I don't have the instructions, and I don't want to dig in my closet to grab them, because I really do not care. And the sword can peg in up here. So there, now you've seen all the accessories. This is Blitzwing fully weaponized in his tank mode. We are going from tank to robot to jet, because that is how the instructions go for the transformation. And I am going to now... I'll discuss the accessories in robot mode, which we are going to start getting to right now. Transformation for Blitzwing is quite interesting. So, first thing I like to do is flip this piece up, take this and fully collapse it in. Then you can elevate this, rotate it, and leave it like that for now. Next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to unpeg these and fully rotate them. That tab is supposed to peg into that slot, but it just kind of rests there. And on one side, it just will not peg in. I think that's a problem on copies other than mine, so be advised. And then you want to unpeg these. They're on kind of soft double-hinged ratchets, so you want to ratchet that piece up and fully collapse this whole assembly. Then you can collapse the tank turret back, and now let's get to work on the legs. So take this panel, pry it off, take this piece, remove it, and fully straighten this whole assembly up. And then you're going to want to split the legs, bring these pieces forward, and then this unpegs from that. Then it folds over here and then folds all the way out to form the wing. Bring this out. There is a big tab here which will peg into a slot there. So just line that up. It's kind of difficult on the first try. It's super tight, at least on my copy, but you should be able to get it if you push hard enough. And then you just wrap this around. There are multiple tabs. It will peg in, that the wing will peg into. This slot will go into that tab. This tab will go into that slot. This tab into that slot. This tab into that slot. So just make sure everything gets tabbed in, everything is flush and clean and all pretty looking. Do the same thing on the other side. Now fold these out, split the thrusters, bring this piece forward. That's technically the transformation, but I like it like that. So collapse that back, bring this forward, and bring it out. If you really want it, G1 accuracy, you can have those facing that way, but I like them more this way. Let's pivot the camera up so we can start working on the top transformation. Alright, let's do this. So, take this piece, bring it out, rotate the head up, and snap that into place. Bring this whole assembly up. These two tabs will peg into these two slots, so wrap that around. Collapse this. It's supposed to peg in, but it kind of just sits there. And then for the arms, bend here, go there, rotate this panel, take the hand out, rotate this, bring this panel up, and bring the arm to the side. Do the same thing over here. I'm tired. And there you have Blitzwing in his robot mode, which is a pretty neat looking robot mode, which he does not come packaged in. He comes packaged in tank mode, which is interesting, but hey, whatever. So, Blitzwing's detail is pretty nice. That head sculpt looks amazing. No light piping. I don't see why, seeing as they cast that out of clear plastic. I'd imagine there would be light piping, but you gotta do what you gotta do. And as you can see from this, he's pretty posable. There is a ball joint at the head. Can look up that far because there's an additional hinge joint in there. And can look down that far, tilt side to side, look left to right. Arms can go forward about that far, and back, not at all. Can go out. Bicep rotation, 90 degrees at the elbow. Wrist rotation. Then get a waist swivel. This piece, the skirt pieces, which will have the legs kick forward. And back, not that much. Outside, there's a thigh rotation. A little over 90 degrees of bend at the knee. And an ankle pivot. So posability on this guy is pretty good, but what would this posability be without any weapons for him to wield? So the first thing I want to discuss are these monstrosities. So first of all, you take this piece out and peg it in here. And that is supposed to slide into his hand. For the life of me, I can't get it to do that. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try right now. But I've never been able to get it to slide in. Just due to the shape. Like, due to the nature of how his arm is shaped, makes it very difficult. Come on. Like, it's hard to see the peg, and it's hard to get it in there. It's just difficult. It's a pain. Let's try the other one. Because they are mirrored sculpts. They're not the same sculpt. They are mirrored sculpts. So let's try this one. Yeah. See, it's annoying. And the size of the porch doesn't help. Let's say bring this panel down. Y'all gotta believe me, I'm doing everything to try to get this in here. I think that's the closest I'm gonna get, and that looks terrible. Actually, that don't look too bad. And then it falls out. Pop! I don't even know how you're intended to get that in there. Like, I've seen people do it, but like, ow. You kind of just put it there and just hope. Okay, I'm gonna stop trying before I get mad. What I do on my display is I peg this into the top like that and straighten it out to make it like a missile. Then I do that on both sides. That's what I do when Blitzwing is on my shelf. That's what I do with these, because there's not really another use for these big old hands. Next, you get two blasters, which peg into his hands. Oh, and by the way, these have, like, nowhere to go, as far as I know. As far as I'm aware, these have nowhere to go in weapon storage for robot mode, and he looks pretty good wielding the blasters, honestly. Could get him into some pretty nice poses dual wielding these. Come on. Come on. There we go. Yeah. Okay, that happened. So, and then another thing I should say is that these blasters do have weapon storage slots. They can peg into these. So, it's pretty neat if you want to have those stored. And then the last thing he has is a sword. It's made of a rubbery plastic, so it's bendy, but I guess, hey, at the end of the day, it's a toy, and I guess it has to follow toy regulations and toy safety laws and crap. So, you can get Blitz looking pretty good with the sword, but that is not all this figure has to offer. Might I remind you, he's a triple changer, so he has a third vehicle mode, which takes like 41 steps to get to, but it's really not that complex. So, first thing I like to do is this, and fold this piece all the way out, and straighten that out. Then unpeg this, rotate that in, peg that back in, unpeg this, and bring the nose cone out and collapse it in. Now this guy's very back heavy. So then do the arm transformation, take that panel, rotate it, collapse the hand in, bring all this, and collapse it. Now we get to the monstrosity. So, collapsing these engines bring these pieces up and fully extend the wings. Then you're going to want to try to bend forward at the knee, which will untab that, and there's a slot there that will go into a tab, so just collapse that and peg it in, and we peg these together. Come on, there we go. And then what we can do is completely detach the arm. There's a tab here which will peg into a slot there. However, it is not the sturdiest connection in the universe, so you're gonna want to really shove that in there. Do the same thing over here. Take that assembly and shove it in. And then what you're going to want to do is collapse this. So this will tab in there, just as it always has. And then these two will tab in there. And there are tabs there that will go into slots on the arms. So this is kind of annoying to do on camera. We're almost done. Next, what you're going to want to do is flip these pieces forward, straighten out the wings, flip the tail fins out ever so slightly if you so choose. Then to get the landing gear out, you rotate that, kind of, you gotta pry the landing gear out, bring that down, put Blitzwing down, and there is jet mode for Blitzwing, which looks good from almost every angle. Like, you look at it from the top and it looks pretty. You look at it from the side, and then especially the bottom, it just looks like tanking off a jet. So, what I do is, I transform the turret, so fold this piece out, bring that out, collapse it, bring this around, fully rotate it, and collapse it into place. And bring these wing pieces out, bring this up, then collapse those wing pieces up against what were originally the shoulders, and that helps make a much more cohesive jet mode that makes the tank parts look less like they're hanging off the jet and more like actual components of the jet. But if I'm going to go over crap for the jet mode, we need to have it in the stock transformation, which looks silly. To say the least, that's the main point of content with many collectors with this figure. It's jet mode being quote-unquote garbage, but I don't really mind. Weapon storage. Let's bring back in the big old hands, because these do have a place to go, and you guessed it, they go in pretty much the give me a second. My brain needs to brain. Do they go in here? No, they don't fit in there. I genuinely forgot where these go in jet mode. I think they go here, because if you shift that forward and peg them in there. And shift that. No. Not sure if you're supposed to shift that forward or not, but I'm just assuming you are supposed to, because that is the only way I can find to be able to fit these things in there the way that I remember it to being meant to. Why is that one perfectly fine, but this one isn't? Oh my god. I hate these. These things suck. I do not care. I do not care about those. They're very annoying. But overall, I think this figure is pretty good. And going from jet to tank mode, because I know you want to see it, it's actually quite easy. So you flip that piece in, collapse it. You collapse that, unpeg all of this bullcrap. You bring the arms back up. You untab the legs and curl them back into their tank mode. You curl and compress them back into their original tank mode configuration. Collapse these pieces. Tab the legs together. Bring this down. Tab it into place. In all the places. Extend these. Tab these. Bring these over. Collapse that. Tab. And repeat the same thing on the other side. Do that all a bunch. And then do that, do that, do that. There is Blitzwing. Goodbye.